everybody? I'm Leo Reyes Rayon,
I'm Josh Glazer.
and today we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the number one pick and are going to take, from all accounts, I guess, Joe Burrow, man. Someone who is, I guess, king of the world to LSU faithful fans. So I'm going to let you just talk about this, going straight up.
Yeah, the best college football quarterback of all time. Talking by the stats, he's kind of bomb proof in my opinion. And maybe
Mhm.
me just being an LSU fan, but I don't see a way that he struggles and doesn't succeed at the level that he should, unless he either one doesn't get protected or two has some kind of freak injury that hampers his career. He's got a high level athleticism that's kind of sneaky, but he was able to outrun a lot of SEC guys. So and
Something that I thought was pretty intense was he was actually recruited as a dual threat quarterback, which is crazy because of like how well he throws the ball. You know.
he was an all-state basketball player, so that's
Yeah.
why he didn't. I was listening to an interview with Urban Meyer, and part of the reason why he wasn't as polished as like a Dwayne Haskins coming out was that he didn't spend all of his time. He wasn't a spandex quarterback,
Hmm.
as some call them, where they're doing is football. All they're doing is all the camps. He
Hmm.
did a lot of basketball and football, and just kind of was more of a competitor, kind of old school, kind of high school quarterback. But he was a hell of a player. He was Mr. Ohio, but now he gets to come back to Ohio, and with the first pick, they're going to take him, and then after that, it's going to be all about protecting him. So they're one position that they have set up as long as he stays healthy, and that's a kind of a big if with Jonah Williams. But as long as he stays healthy, they have a left tackle. But everywhere else, they are wide open to improve the blocking around him. So there's guys that say they have picks at 135 and 65, and at 35, I could see them going a bunch of different ways. If Ruiz is there, they probably go him because he's the best interior guy. Maybe they target a guy like Josh Jones. You're aware of him from Houston.
Yeah.
He was a good tackle for them. Or they go after a guy from Georgia, Isaiah Wilson, who's a giant mauler, high upside athlete. And there's guys like Ezra Cleveland who had a decent career. He's being projected a little to improve more as he gets to the pros. So that would be an interesting pick. Then they go to there's the guys later in the draft like Prince. Let's see if I get this right. Prince Tega Wanogo.
Yeah, from
He's
Auburn.
a developmental. From Auburn. He's a good tackle. It's more developmental. And if they can't get a Ruiz, maybe they go later with a Cushenberry from LSU. And then there's a more finesse tackle like Austin Jackson. There's so many tackles in this draft.
Hmm.
They're going to have to find at least one, and maybe they find two and just bumping one inside,
Hmm.
depending on how they value guys and how they project. One guy I think is a super athlete and has some baggage, but the Bengals have been known to take chances on guys with baggage is a guy, um, Charles from LSU, Sadiq Charles.
Hmm.
And he's a player that just showed out really well, but he just had some issues with failed drug tests. I believe it was the weed. Gonna stay off the weed, as Stephen A. Smith says. But yeah, that's kind of there's plenty of options to fix the line as long as they are smart enough to not get cute and try to go other places with it. There's one other position. This is kind of a strange team because for the most part, they have a lot of positions filled throughout, but it's just a lot of the important ones. Like O-line, they have struggled, and at quarterback, they've struggled with kind of being average with Andy Dalton. So the most important parts are what they need to fix, especially on offense. But now that they have those guys in place and they do their job correctly, which is never a guaranteed thing with Mike Brown making all the picks because he's kind of a little long in the tooth. I'll leave it at that. But he's an older fella. So another position that they need starters is linebacker, and I could see them going at 35, going Malik Harrison, who would fit next to they already have a guy Pratt who's got much more range as kind of that cover linebacker. So if they add a guy like Malik Harrison, he'd be more of the physical guy that's a communicator, very smart. very gritty, kind of your old school linebacker, kind of fits with what the Bengals have looked for previously.
Mm-hmm.
Two other guys that they maybe pray get down, or maybe they trade up for, or Patrick Queen and a Murray from Oklahoma. Those are both high-level prospects that probably don't make the 35, so they probably have to trade up for, but would definitely fill the role that they're looking for. Any thoughts on what else they might want to target or
Yeah,
injure?
man. I think personally, like when you get a quarterback, and this has been like my biggest thing. Like when you get a quarterback, you have to make sure that the line is good. Just because I mean we've seen people break down so frequently. I mean the person when I the first person that pops up in my mind is Andrew Luck. You know what I mean? So I think that it's important for them to like consistently put a really strong, solid offensive line around them. And I mean, they have the running game, and they have AJ Green who's getting older, but I mean, he's good right now. So yeah, man, I agree. I think linebacker is something that they need to do as well. You know what I mean? And then obviously, like, I mean, their defense, I mean, you could improve that defense pretty much with like almost anything, you know what I mean? Just like in general, like, So I guess like everything else is you know, uh, best player available. But I think for sure if you're gonna go offensive, I mean, if you're gonna go Burrow, you have to make sure that you can give him the best offensive line that he can just to maximize, his career. So yeah.
Completely agree. So what do you have them going record-wise?
Um, That's a tough question. I mean, I don't want to say that they're gonna be like 2-14 again, because they're gonna have a better. I mean, I guess like a more talented quarterback. I mean, I guess 5-11. You know what I mean? I don't see them like becoming like a playoff team, obviously. You know what I mean? But I mean, I feel like they'll take a positive step forward. So
Yeah.
yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I have them going 6-10, 5-11. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think there'll
Yeah.
be a Burrow's worth at least 3 or 4 wins. So that's kind of the way I view it. And as long as they focus on the right things, which is hopeful for the Bengals. They were pretty darn bad last year.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we see with the Bengals. Any last thoughts, or we're good?
I think we're good, man. Yeah.
So we'll continue on to the rest of the AFC North, and this is the Raise and Glaze podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Josh the Glaze Glazer.
I'm Leo Reyes Rayon.
Like, subscribe, comment. Don't be too mean. You might hurt our feelings. No, I'm just kidding. You can be mean. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, we'll see y'all later, and we are on to Pittsburgh.
Yep.